Hi everybody, Harvey here from Growth Properties. Today I'm going to touch on tenant profiles, matching the right tenant profile with the right area and refurbishment. So what you want to do when you're looking to invest in an area, you want to make sure you buy and refurb the property to the correct style of tenant that you're looking to get for the area. So you get three major types of tenant profiles. You get your professional profile of a tenant, which is generally your higher end earners working as doctors, lawyers, managers, maybe business owners. You get your blue collar level tenants, which generally are warehouse workers, mid earners sort of thing, working in warehouses, building sites, offices. And then you get your entry level, which is usually like housing benefits or lower level employment, or sometimes a mix between the two, where they'll be on like housing benefits topped up. Well, not housing benefits, to be on something like universal credit, where they will get a combination of working and top up. But usually lower income workers, and usually work in like shops and just part-time jobs, and have a top up from benefits. Understanding each of the profiles and understanding which style of investment for each of the profiles is critical, really. So ultimately, you don't want to get a professional profile, want higher end finishes. You can put some designer stuff in the property, like some Villeroy Bosch sinks and just nice little touches in the property, which will go a long way with getting it over the line quicker. But on the entry level, you wouldn't be looking to do that or put granite worktops or anything in the entry level. So getting the correct style refurb for the correct style tenant is vital. Again, you want to look at the areas, so it's very area specific. Like if you go to an area and it's an entry level area, so say each area has micro pockets of area. So say, for instance, you've got East London. In East London, you've got higher end areas and lower end areas. If you go to Stockton-on-Tees, where I invest, you get nicer areas and lower end areas. So if you look at the entry level areas, the last thing you want to be doing in entry level areas is putting granite worktops, high designer kitchens in, because the tenants don't demand that. You just need a basic level refurb. And same vice versa. If you're going to the higher end areas, you don't want to be doing basic refurbs, you want to be doing a bit more. There's pros and cons in each of the areas, and some of the pros and cons for the professionals, it's great because they're usually good payers, but generally professionals save up their money and buy a house eventually themselves. It's just a stopgap, so you get a higher turnover with the professional tenant profile. But generally look after the property a bit more, sometimes a little bit demanding because they pay good money, so they demand a good service. With your blue collar level, this is a nice level, to be fair, to get in the long term. Generally you find them a bit more hands-on, look after the properties themselves, decent payers, obviously still in the blue collar sort of pay wage. You can find they do stretch themselves a little bit sometimes on too many holidays and too much credit, but generally good payers, look after the properties. These sort of pros with it. The cons is they might only stay mid-term, still only save up, probably stay a little bit longer than your professional tenants, but will get a bit more of a higher turnover. But then you've got your entry level. So the pros with that is the yields are fantastic. The tenants are less demanding generally on refurbs, but a little bit feeling more entitled sometimes. That's the mentality you get. But the cons with it is sometimes you might have more problems. You might have more problems with maintenance on the properties, leaving them in wrecks, voids, paying, can't rent them so quick. So there's pros and cons in each of the areas that you've got to weigh up. Myself personally, I like just the crossover area where you get in just from high end of entry level and low end of blue collar level, where I find you get long-term tenants. You get people that generally want to cancel home and want to live there for a long time, and their wages don't quite match up enough to be saved up for deposits. So as long as they get the area they want, they're happy to stay there for a long time, and they're generally decently look after the properties and everything. That's where I find the sweet spot, but it depends what works with you and what areas you're in. I find obviously going too low gets a fantastic yield, but is that yield anything if there's loads of voids? You can't attract tenants in there, or you only attract tenants that smash the property up. You've got to weigh all these things up. But also it's good to have a bit of a diverse portfolio. So in my portfolio I do have some lower entry ones, not the complete entry, but lower entry ones. But I want our portfolio full of them. But then I've got the mid ones and a few higher end sort of ones as well, just for diversity. Because again, higher end pro is more capital growth, be able to sell them easier if you need to sell. So yeah, it's pros and cons in each of the areas, but I hope that's useful. It's not a foolproof science. There's always exceptions to every rule out there, but if you follow it along them sort of guidelines, it will put you in the right direction. Hope you found that useful. If you did, please give us a big thumbs up and a share. Thank you.